through this. But at the end, sometimes it has, it's sort of a healing too. Because sometimes through all the adversities and everything, you really thank God, oh God, thank you. I now realize what you say. In the case of Dancing Mirage, nobody will know how it was going to end, but probably be surprised to tell about your marriage.
That's what I'm going to. How do I relate personally my character? You have what you call the strand story. The spine story is the general thing that is happening in the country, and the strand story is your personal life within that situation. And like he said, when you come out planning to go, you don't have control of what will happen next. And when that thing happens, how do you respond to it? Do you respond to it positively? Do you respond to it negatively? And that brings me to my happy wife here, who is happy. She is happy in quotes. And the story of Cordelia, which is set with the Nigerian system in the 90s, given the military era, and having to look at how we respond to the military with regards to what is going on in the country, and how we individuals in our strand story in our lives play within that same circumference of governance. And something happens and you are caught in between the deep blue sea and the Red Sea. What do you do? Do you give in? Do you give up? Do you go out? Do you go in? When you go in, what happens? So that question just sets it all up, that Cordelia affects all of us individually from the my character's perspective. And perception sometimes, how you play within other people's perception. I have a perspective about the situation, you have your perception about it. What you're seeing is different, and what I'm saying is different. So it brings us dovetails into his question also, where you ask, what would the audience take up?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kilani, and there are some things as an actor, I think, for me, there are a couple of things that I want to do before I die. One is working with Tiki.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, so yeah, that's Tiki. And working with him was, I didn't even believe, like she said, till I got to set, I was working with Tiki.
I was like, are you sure?
Yeah, are you sure? Yeah. And then I'm like, where's Tiki? Where's Tiki? Like, oh, okay, it's Tiki. Okay, wow. Tiki, like, Tiki. Like,
Oh, come on.
I'm sure it's Tiki. Like, you know, the name Tunde Kilani is amazing. It's amazing all through the years, the acting industry, the performance industry. You can't go like, you can't go so far without hearing Tiki. So it was an awesome time working with him, and I wanted to know the kind of person he was on set. And I came and he just allowed me to be me, to do what I had to do. So for me, some directors, you work with them and they always like, okay, they make you kind of stiff and you're not able to express yourself or express things in the character. The worst they could tell you is, when you do, you say, okay, I like this, but can you just tone down a bit or do this for me? So working with him was amazing. I was like, really? And yeah, the character is, for me, for every movie or film, I try to bring something special to the character. It's as good as my last job. Any job I'm doing, it's as good as my last job. So even if it's a scene, even if it's two, like he said, you just have to remember I'm in the film. Even if I'm not standing and looking throughout the film, you like, boy, why is he looking like this? You shall have to remember. So for me, I brought my A game to the game because it's TK, of course, and yes.
Can't afford
So, yeah, you'd enjoy it. I'll just say everybody should come out and see Cordelia because it's a different story, and the way the story is told, the story is mixed into different. There's so much to take out of it, and then the setting, it was set in the 90s setting, which is beautiful, and the way he tells the story, very African, very rich, very cultural. It was awesome, and just see the film. Thank you very much.
I respond to the story. The story I'm telling at any time will demand, who will be in it. And that's perhaps it's an asset, perhaps it's a problem, because I have an audience base. I do know that principally there are 40 million Yorubas first of all in the homeland, and then in the diaspora, and they already decided that I should best make the film in the Yoruba language and culture. Let's say African, you know, it's just an example of how much we can achieve in our own languages and in our culture and in our tradition. Because we are not just telling a story at that point, we are also archiving whatever is left of it. So I don't know, if I come across such a story, I will consider it, you know, but I would not say to be popular or to make dollars, I have to go and bring someone, you know, even if it doesn't fit the story. You know, so, but I'm open-minded all the time. It's essentially it's fiction, but it's based on some historical facts.
Okay.
And you can even decide when you see it and fit it into what you think is right. But first of all, unfortunately, Professor Femi Osofison, who wrote this story, is away. He's going to return to the country just before we go on general release on July 18. I wondered, you know, that's why I do a lot of adaptations, because I try to get into the minds and the brains of writers. That's why I've worshipped them. I did so much adaptation, sometimes they forget that I'm not one of them. Because they have done African Writers Association in the US, a conference. They included my name and I went along. And I tried to convince, listen, I'm not one of you, really. But I would really worship writers. Professor Femi Osofison, I come across several of his works, and I can't understand how he thought about it. And when it comes to the family, because the family, he was serializing this story in pages of Guardian, when he worked in Guardian. And then sometimes he said people will come to him and say, Mokwe, problem was, you were serious there. You know, I didn't know you have so much, your wife, and he said, I don't have a problem, but it's just a story I'm writing. You know, that was how convincing it all was. You know, it's so magical. And then they brought it to life, in fact, beyond my own expectations. Sometimes I'm wondering, is it real? And when we get to Major Kawali, this guy designed the character and smoked so menacingly. And anytime he lies, I say, oh my God.
There's no stop you see on the
floor. Are you suggesting a coup?
Just as if you are doing it. I mean, this is not a coup, but I mean...
No, we're in a democracy. We have a robust democracy in place.
I fail to disagree.
You know.
Let me just quickly chip in something there. Having to have in the Nigeria of the 90s, 80s, 90s, and all that, the military era, and falling into this period, you see how we've fallen, or rather, things have gone up to what it is today. So most times, we storytellers, you say, we, like they say, literature leaves the society. We leave the society back to the society. So we haven't seen the film yet. We've seen the snippets of it. It can propel or project that if you don't do X, Y, Z, this might happen. So it's just like a foretelling for you to guide the society the way it should go, so that when you do that properly, everything goes right.
Let me just summarize Cordelia like that. Sometimes when you watch the film, you realize maybe it's just a casual glance at our recent historical past. But at the end of the film, you can just say, oh, it's a love story.
Love story.
You know, so there's no way you can tell what it is until you have seen it.
You can even come into the cinema, you pick out, you carry the military, whatever, and go. Someone comes and take love story. Another comes and say, I want to be a professor.
All right, thank you, sir.
I want to be a bad wife.
Yeah.
Second to the last.
Exactly. So all I want you to watch is the last scene of this film. And hear the sound that accompanies it. Then you'll come back and come and say, TK, you are right. You know, even if you are you wake up and respond to it.
Respond to it and go back to
Miracle
sleep.
music.
And then it's a tribute to one of our greatest musicians who ever lived in Nigeria. I think it essentially has to do about the stories. Look, I try to convince even the new generation. We have millions of literary resource, asset, that we should be ashamed of something because we haven't even done anything. I carry books around, and sometimes I'm excited at what I'm about to do next, what will follow. At least 3 of the 5 films they are adaptation for literary resource. Why have we stopped reading? I often wonder, how can anybody become a thinker without reading? I think it's not. You see, I started early in life with the Ofagua series and Delano. And now I've laid my hands on Ayedayo Oyinbo. It's a wild ruler's world, which his name flew out of my head. I just translated. I don't know how I feel about books. I'm surrounded by books. If I have obtention of a fiction, any other thing, I will certainly take it. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do next. I just know that there are 5 options, and then something happens that triggers what I do the next moment. So for me, it's my own way of life. You understand? I have a very broad canvas. That is the beauty of Africa. Imagine Africa, about 50 countries, 2,000, 3,000 different cultures and colors. We have not even reflected it in Nigeria. How much the whole of Africa? So that's how I work. I don't know if it answers your question. I've even forgotten the question.
When I read the script and I saw my character's name was Remy, and I saw the kind of persona Remy had, I knew there were personalities that I've had to act or interpret before. So an angry wife. But when you have to work with somebody who is like TK, you always make sure that even if you're playing the same character again and again, you're interpreting it differently.
Yeah.
You adapt to one habit or one vice or something, and just make that character stand out from all the other characters that you've played. So when I read it, I knew I had to do something completely different. Not just shouting like we do in our movies as usual, not just angry and shouting and showing that you are angry. There was a character that I kind of wore over myself. Because my husband is obviously very big and bigger than I am. I'm like this high when I stand in front of him. But I had to make him know that you have a fire wife in the house. You can be a professor.
She swallowed
You
it.
can be whatever it is out there in school. But when you are in this house, I am your wife.
Yep.
And you have to respect me.
Yes.
So I had to create a character where I chest out when I walk so that you know that trouble is coming. So,
Lioness.
That's it.
so I was just excited to, bring different things on set.
Yeah.
And like they both say, TK will let you do anything you want to do. He will let you do whatever you want to do. So it was a blast. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. When you watch movie, anytime she appears, there's a special music for her. When you
So
do
that's
dun, dun, dun,
interesting.
dun, okay now. No, in fact, the music is called Dream. Because anytime she appears, usually there's a person on the balcony when they say, Remy, let me go there. And you go and say, it's too late. The music changes and we see her. They say, but it's fun.
So it kind of gives a better picture to your question, because when he started earlier, he talked about the scoring, and the scoring of the song wasn't done like you go into the studio. It was live. They were watching
Orchestra.
the
that's
film
live
without
orchestra.
everything, and they were scoring. So if you've seen an orchestra before and you have over 70-something people scoring, as they're watching, they move with the action of the actors and all that. So every film has its style. If we come from the Nollywood perspective, days back, you can predict what song will come in and all that. You slap my face and da. But this one, her mood, the music depicts what you're saying. So it puts you in that friend, it puts you in that position to feel what she's feeling at the time she's feeling it and all that. So it kind of drives everything home.
And now, my own last word. All right? I'm not allowed to say sort of the last word.
Yes, sir.
No, all I just want to say is to, first of all, thank Professor Femi Oshofison for giving us that story. You know, it's unbelievable. I still wonder how he thought about it and then wrote this story. And I want to thank the talents for bringing it to life. I couldn't even believe myself. You know, William said that they make it easy for me. No, you don't make it easy for me. I make it easy for you. Yes. Because what I do is, anytime I'm making a movie, I thought I'm so privileged enough to pay all these people to entertain me. Because I'm the first audience that can see. Just like a palm wine, you're bringing down the top of it, and I'm sitting for you to bring that, the first to drink it. I'm looking at all these people. Yeah. And I just see all the transformation, everything going on right in front of me. Some of them, that's why when I sit in stage, I'm watching a play. And after the play, I can't recognize the people who played it because they look so different. You can never imagine this guy or her, for instance. No, it's not possible. So this is magic. And I'm particularly grateful to God about what God has given our country. We are blessed with the tangible heritage, oil and gas and all those things. But more importantly, we are blessed by all these people. And then everything that we are all doing and you are doing. So I'm eternally grateful to City people for bringing all of us together. This is not like a press conference, just like we're having a chat. I also said, bring drinks and be enjoying ourselves. So I thank you all for this opportunity to meet with you, and so on. So I'm back. Today Kilani is back. And don't forget, it's July 18. We are releasing nationwide.
Let's give up. Thank you very much. On behalf of the organizers of this meeting, I'd like to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you for leaving all you have to do to be here this afternoon to share your time with TK and the awesome cast of the new movie Cordelia. And I want to please beg you to support and give publicity to the movie in such a way that we'll have a lot more Nigerians who are out there eager to go out and watch Cordelia. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Forget the legend. Wale Soyinka is still alive. Right?
Yes.
How can there be two legends?
We have to be right outside.